I was never able to understand the concept of greatness. I just never was able to understand that concept of greatness. And as time went on and I've gotten older and I've met many journeys on people that I met on my journey and people who I've read about on my journey. I read that all greatness, the majority of greatness in itself doesn't come with goodness. The two don't coexist with one another. And I spent all my life trying to become great because I had such a low self-esteem. And I realized late in life, well, I'm saying I'm 47, but late in my life, that all great men are not good men. And then so I tried to embark on a whole different career and try to become good. But what's the concept of good? Being a floor mat? I never understood the concept of good. The concept of good is pretty much then I must be a politician, because politicians are always striking for goodness and always trying to win votes from people. And only reason that we win votes because they believe that we're good. So how do we live in those two dimensions at once? You want that greatness for self-gratification, but you want goodness from a human perspective. And I really have no idea, no clue how do I juggle both of them and be in harmony. And then in all actuality, they don't exist. You have to pick a side. I respect a person who's willing to die for what he truly wants. Even if it's love, even if it's a woman, whatever it is that he truly believes in, and that he believes that it transcends him to that level to demand for love, for instance. I look at love as a command to just rise to your greatest potential, and that's how people should feel. Their objective should be to rise to their best potential in life. If it's to lose 30 pounds, if it's to pass a test, it should be to win a fight, to be admired by people all over the world. It should allow you to rise to your greatest potential, that you look at yourself in the most grandest fashion. My mother's she's a Southern woman from the Virginia area, and this is what I found out later. And I only can remember for a small period of real small increment of my life that I lived in Bedford-Stuyvesant. In the early middle 70s, eventually we had to move. We were evicted. We had to leave the house. All of our furniture was really politely decorated, the concrete outside, so we had to, me and my brother, I guess we had to sit on the furniture to wait till my mother can get a place for us to stay. And it was just after that, it was pretty much hard times, welfare, when we moved to Brownsville, which was a much more aggressive neighborhood. And it just wasn't good. It was just crime-infested, drug-infested neighborhood, and it was very aggressive. And my mother knew a lot of men. Her and her friends knew a lot of men. It wouldn't be abnormal for me to come from one of my friends' houses, to come from outside a man and a woman is in one of my mother's room, or my mother's in a room with a man and a woman, and we can't go in the room, but we have to stay outside in the kitchen, perhaps, or the living room, and we can't go in the back of the room until they're finished. And that's just how our life's been. And as time went on, I've learned to while people were in the back that I would, and they fell asleep, I would go in their pockets and take their money. And that's just how it's been. That's just what it was all about. I learned how to steal at a young age.
Very young age.
Yeah, very young. I learned how to steal. I learned how to, when my mother's friends were in her house, they were drinking, I learned to go in their house from a fire escape and rob their house while they were downstairs drinking with my mother. And that's just what I learned to do in my life. They used to bully me in school. And so I never went back to school. So when my mother used to send me to school, I would just be hanging around the school, walking around the school. And if normally we have security guard, the truants officer, they see me, I would take off and run, or hide in the building, abandon the building. But normally, my mother knew I wasn't going to school. Then I met some guys one day, and they pursued to ripping me off, and they realized I didn't have no money. But on lunchtime, I used to go in school and eat lunch, and then leave school again. So, especially when they had the meatballs and spaghetti. So, one time these guys, they wanted to rip me off, and I didn't have no money, so they asked me, do you want to fly birds with me? So I said, what do you mean? They said, you want to fly with us? And then I realized that they took me to this abandoned building, but they wanted me to get my milk, climb the fence and throw milk crates over to them. And I didn't understand why they wanted the milk crates, but I did it anyway, because I was kind of scared. And then they had took me to this abandoned building. I didn't know what they were going to do to me in that building, So when I went up there, I saw on the roof, they had pigeons. And then after that, I never went to school again. Once I found out I had a pigeon coop, and I could be these guys' flunkies and go to the store for them. And if the birds were horrible, they were in horrible conditions. So the birds would fly for a little while, and then they'd land on another roof, and then make me get up and go on that roof short and get the birds off the roof. So I would go to all these roofs that the lady birds flew on and scare the birds off, hoping that they would go back to the roof where the guys were. And I thought that was pretty cool because I felt wanted, because at least somebody wanted me to do something for them. So the next day, instead of going back around, walking around school, I went to the pigeon coop. And the guys saw me and they said, excuse me, young man. They said, what the are you doing? And they started throwing bricks at me and while they were on the roof. And I said, hey, I just came around to see you guys need me to do anything for y'all today, like help with the birds or go to the store for you, that's all. But they had thought that I was coming back around to steal their birds. And I had no concept of stealing birds back then. I just wanted someplace to hang out instead of walking around the streets all day. So I would be on the roof with these guys who I didn't know, who might have killed me also, right? So they said, yeah, go, and then they throw down someone, go to the store and get some cigarettes and get a knee-high soda. After throwing bricks at me, and so I go upstairs. And so the guys go like this. School is over and stuff. But they tell me, we're going to the center tonight. We're going to go to the after-school center. This is where, the poverty-stricken people that live in the projects, they have a center there, a youth center, and they go there and they're playing music. They got a jam in the center, so we're going to go to the center. And so, oh man, I don't believe I'm saying it. So I said, okay, I want to go too. Can I go? And I said, okay, so, yeah, sure, you can come. But I'm a young kid. I had no concept of you had to wash. So when I went to the center, so I still have all the stuff, the tar and stuff from being in the pigeon coop, helping them build the coop. So, we have tar paper, so we have to put the tar paper in the coop, and we're doing our own little home design network on there, right? And so I have tar on me, and I have bird done on me. And so when we go back, I never went home and washed. I just had the same clothes I had on. And when I went there, the kids that was on the roof that brought me to the roof, they all had new clothes on. And they all laughed at me. And everybody started laughing at me, and I was scared and embarrassed. I started laughing too. And one of the guys that was on the roof, he had said, won't you come around here looking like that? Don't you ever wash? And he said, you meet me at the roof with the birds where you met me today. Even though that guy wasn't his pigeons, but he was there. He was looking for one of those other guys' brothers. He was older. He said, meet me at the roof. You hear me, shorty? Meet me at Pigeon. Where you were today? And I'm a schmuck. I'm like, yo, schmucko. So I met him early in the morning, just like when you're going to school. So I met him at the pigeon coop. And from then on, me and him started robbing houses. Because I was younger than him, so he would tell me to ring the doorbell, knock on the door. And if someone comes over, say you're looking for this guy, he'll give me a Jewish name or something. He'll give me some name. He just knew what to say, the right stuff and what neighborhoods. And I didn't know. And then I found out nobody was there. He would pick the locks. He would have to pick the locks. And we would go in there. We would find money, guns, jewelry. It was just wow. It was just such a rush being in somebody's house and you see that luxury there and it's yours. And he didn't give me much money, but he bought me a lot of nice-looking clothes. And he said, you go back to the center looking like this. And then I went to that center, and then it was a whole different. It was totally different. Everybody wanted to be my friend. Everybody saw at the time I was young, but at the time we had, I can't even pronounce, digital. It's a digital, right? The digital watch. Remember that stuff? We had digital watches and long jean watches. And I was just a young little kid. I must have been 10. I might not have even been 10, but I remember I had one watch. I had a long jean watch. I'll never forget. It was a gold watch with one diamond, and I had the digital watch. But I liked the digital watch because I was a kid, and I liked to see the numbers light up. Kick you, kick you, kick you. But I couldn't even tell time back then, but I had the watches and stuff. And they used to call me Dirty Mike, Dirty Ike, and it wasn't because I had bad clothes. I always had the best clothes, but I always was on the pigeon coop, and I always got them dirty and tall, and I would never change my clothes and I would never do that. I would never change my clothes to put on some raggedy clothes and be seen in raggedy clothes, because I'd been traumatized from that experience when I went to the daycare center, after school center. So I would always just wear my nice clothes in the pigeon coop, and they would always get dirty, and I would just go home and change into some new nice clothes. You know, till this day I'm the same way. I always make sure that I have nice clothes on, no matter wherever I go. If I'm playing with pigeons, if I'm playing soccer, if I'm taking out the garbage, and it's just it's just always been a scar on me since them guys just humiliated me that day. I never had, this is really interesting, when I met Cuz, even though I was a street kid and I would come with like a tough kid, I never had an ego. I was never really jealous of anybody. I never really thought much of myself, but when I met Cuz and I started talking to Cuz, he made me believe that I was a god. He made me believe that, for instance, Cuz would say this. Now, to Cuz would say, now you hear this? Because Cuz had really, he had this really, megalomaniac ego. He said, you let me tell you something. You, all the prophets, all the gods you ever know about, if they had a son, their son couldn't beat my fighter. You know why? Because he's my fighter. But this guy always told me, he says, I'm allowing my mind to get the better of me. Your mind, you don't have your mind on your work. You're not being disciplined. He really knew that. He always believed that his mind could heal anything. He believed if he had cancer, his mind could heal cancer. He was a strong believer that your body only purpose was to carry your brain. You know, he was just amazing, man. And most of his fighting was mostly psychologically. He believed the physical actuality of boxing was only 10% when the mind was 90%. He always believed in improving yourself and strengthening your mind. And you really couldn't do that just by talk. You had to do it by action and practice. Not by an animal, but a sophisticated animal, a smart animal, the lion and the fox. You know what I mean? I could beat the vicious guys, and I got outsmart the slicksters. So I was pretty much didactic in that apartment, pretty much. But what really was the turning point is that there was nobody that could reach the core like Cuz could. No one could inspire me. He was more than that. He wouldn't let no one say anything negative about me. At any fight, if someone said something negative about me, he was the old man, he would attack them.
Literally?
Yeah, physically. He won't let nobody allow any negativity to even seep through my psyche. You know, everything was that I'm invincible. I'm a savage. I'm ferocious. I'm the smartest savage. I don't even think that way anymore. He always had me read mostly books about war. Claude von Clausewitz. Yeah, this guy, he was a pretty interesting guy. He read Nietzsche, and this is why Cus read all those books. Cus was pretty much an intellect, but he was an intellectual and philosopher about war, and he thought fighting was a form of war, you know. And he thought fighting was. Cus really thought he was like born 2,000 years too early. He should have been a Roman gladiator or something, because he believed fighting was your opponent's surrender, his total destruction. And he didn't think of it as, even though he said it was savage and ferociously, you had to do it in such a relaxed and calm state, you know, without any emotions. And I'm totally emotional guy all over the place, so that thing just didn't work out. But that's what he was all about, you know what I mean? A really scientific way of destroying people. He enjoyed hurting the opponent. He wanted them to never have a chance to believe they could beat you. And there's a quote in Machiavelli, The Prince, and when they say, after you defeat the king and you cut off his head, you be audacious and you say what you're going to do to the next ruler and the next prince that you're going to conquer, and that allows them to be intimidated. It speaks volume. Different levels of success. Some people's success is not using drugs, not drinking anymore. Some people's success is making $1 million. Some other people's success is making $1 billion. Some people's success is not going to prison no more. And we have totally different levels of success. I was born with great perception. It came from my street life, from being locked up for stealing and facing unbelievable odds as a young kid. I had great perception. And once I watched these guys fight, I just knew it was a matter of time, but I knew my time would soon come. I knew I would obtain my goal before it existed. I knew that. I knew I would be champ of the world before I died. I knew I wasn't going to die before I became champ. You know, dying is just as glorious as living when you really think about it, because you couldn't have a life if you didn't have death, and you couldn't have death without life. So how could death be less glorious than life? They're both intertwined with one another. I wanted to make Cus proud. That was my whole existence for fighting. I wanted to make him proud. I never knew what it was like to have a fighter. A father. So now I understand what some kids must feel when they can't make their fathers happy. Because he would do anything for me. I was just, I don't think that way now. I was just disappointed that I didn't kill them back then. That was just my main objective, because I wanted to succeed so bad, and I failed, and the fear of not succeeding was worse than dying. So I just wanted to make sure they never got up. That was everything. My whole life, he said, best fight in the world, best fight in the world. There's nobody on the planet that could beat me. I could beat anybody on the planet in a fair fight, and that's what I always believed. You know, I don't even think about that now, but just to be in that state of mind, I could be anybody one day I said this, and I'm so happy that I don't think that way anymore. I was having an interview, and I started thinking about Cus, because Cus is pretty, arrogant, and Cus said, and I said one of Cus words. I said, I was being interviewed, and I said, how many people in this planet? I said, what, around 5 billion people, 6 billion? I said I could beat every one of them in a fair fight. And that's what I believed at the time. But it sounds so good to say that. And I can't believe I had the audacity to say that. I remember I was a young kid and I was getting put on the front cover of maybe Ring magazine at the time. A big time magazine it was. Could have been Sports Illustrated, but one of these magazines, I got put on the magazine, and there's a bunch of cameras around there, and I was feeling myself. I was smiling, laughing with the guys like I was a big shot. And then right after that, Cus said, grab the broom and mop and sweep, clean the gym. And whoa. And that's just what I had to do. I just knew my place with him. I just knew my place, Like things I would say with other people, I would never say with him. He would only have to call me one time and I would be there. It was never like, hey, be there in a minute. That I could project greatness without being great. And that's why I succeeded so much. I would quote books, I would quote stuff from great warriors, Pericles and all that stuff. I'm going to be 6 billion people in a fair fight. Come on. It can be believed, but it doesn't necessarily have to be true. And I can project that belief in the minds of others. I'm not afraid to lose in life. I'm not afraid to do anything. I won't do anything. Matter of fact, I won't do anything. Matter of fact, like my show, there's nothing I would do unless I have a possibility of being humiliated. If I can't be humiliated, if I fail, I don't want to do it. Because only by doing that, I will rise to my highest potential with the fact that I might be humiliated, and I don't want that to happen. But when it does happen, then I will truly be humiliated. Because when I succeed, I truly succeed. A room without a book is like a body without a soul. You know, we have to, it's the only way that we can connect the future with the past. Without that, there's no way that we can no way we can know about the future, or know about particularly the past or the present, you know, because when you think about history, the value of history is not necessarily scientific but moral. By liberating our minds and, you know, deepening our sympathies and fortifying our will, we can control pretty much. History allows us to control not society but ourselves, which is a much more important thing to do. You know what I mean? And it would allow us to pretty much meet the future more so than foretell it. I've always sought comfort from my pigeons, no matter where I live. I always have them, and I've collected special breeds of pigeons. They're called roller pigeons. Sir Anthony Hopkins played Hannibal Lecter. In that great movie, he talked about them. Do you know that a roller pigeon is? You know what a roller pigeon is, Barney? They climb high and fast, and they roll over and fall just as fast towards the earth. There are shallow rollers, and there are deep rollers. You can breed two deep rollers, or the young roller will roll all the way down and hit and die. It is no surprise that I have an affinity for rollers. It is really something to watch. They fly higher than all the other birds, way up on the top of the sky, and way in the clouds, and they just roll and roll and roll down. And if they're lucky, they pull out in time before they crash and head first into the ground. Rollers who are the offspring of two pairs of deep rollers can do that. They roll so fast that they create a suction, and they can't open their wings. And if they explode on impact, it looks horrific to us. But if we put ourselves into the heart of that bird, there's nothing like that feeling, plummeting down and rolling. It is a smorgasbord of endurance and endorphins. Both of my parents were deep rollers. I was bred to climb high and high into the sky and tumble down. I am truly grateful that I found my wings before I hit the ground.